In 1973, a chestnut colt with an impossible dream shattered every record in horse racing history. His name was Secretariat, but to millions, he was Big Red. In 2 minutes and 24 seconds at Belmont Park, he didn't just run faster than any horse had ever run. He rewrote the limits of what an animal or an athlete could do. It was more than a race. It was something people still talk about 5 decades later, like a myth passed down in barns and grandstands and living rooms long after Big Red's thundering hooves fell silent. People called him a miracle on 4 legs, but the real miracle wasn't what he did, it was how he did it. Because inside that blazing chestnut body beat a heart twice the size of any ordinary thoroughbreds, and a spirit that refused to slow down for anyone or anything. But greatness never just appears out of nowhere. It's born in the strangest moments, in the flick of a coin, in the dreams of a stable running out of money, in the belief that maybe, just maybe, lightning could strike once more. They said no horse could run that fast. They said no animal could sustain that pace over 1.5 miles. They said it was impossible, but Secretariat didn't just prove them wrong. He made them wonder why they ever believed it in the first place. At Churchill Downs, he did the impossible, each quarter-mile faster than the one before. At Pimlico, he conquered the Preakness in a blur so fast that for decades people argued about the time. And at Belmont Park, that wasn't a horse race. That was a force of nature leaving the field behind by 31 lengths, so far ahead that when he crossed the line, it looked like he was racing ghosts. Yet if you want to understand how that moment happened, how a chestnut colt named Secretariat outran history itself, you have to rewind. Because this story doesn't start with a finish line. It starts with a man staring down a coin flip, hoping for one last chance. Christopher Chenery was the proud but aging owner of Meadow Stables in Virginia, a place with good horses but not enough luck. By the late 1960s, his health was failing. Bills piled up. Hope was thin. But he had one card left to play, a breeding deal with Claiborne Farm in Kentucky, one of the blue blood centers of the thoroughbred world. 2 mares would meet Bold Ruler, a stallion known for passing on pure speed, but not always stamina. The kind of stallion that might make a sprinter, but not a marathoner. The deal was simple. Flip a coin to see who picked first. 1 foal for Claiborne, 1 foal for Meadow. Heads or tails, sometimes that's all it takes to change history. Heads, Chenery called, but the coin fell to tails. Claiborne picked first, and they chose the foal that seemed the sure thing, a strong bay colt named Riva Ridge. Riva would go on to become a champion in his own right. But what Chenery got, what he was left with, was a chestnut colt, born on March 30th, 1970, just after midnight. Long legs, a bright star on his forehead, 2 white socks, a colt that, in the soft Virginia dawn, looked like a gamble that might never pay off. They named him Secretariat, after an office term, the paperwork, the administration. But the people around him didn't use that name at first. They called him Big Red. And Big Red had a way of turning heads from the start. When the sunlight hit his coat, it shimmered like polished copper. He was big, but not awkward, perfectly balanced. He moved through the fields like he owned every blade of grass under his hooves. He was playful too. Stable hands would find him tugging at pockets, nipping at shirt sleeves, as if testing the people around him, seeing who could keep up with him. Penny Chenery, Christopher's daughter, had taken over the stable by then, determined to keep her father's dream alive. She believed in Big Red even before anyone else did. When it came time to train him, they turned to Lucien Laurent, a tough, sharp-eyed French-Canadian trainer near retirement. Laurent didn't need more headaches, but when he saw Big Red run, he saw something that made him lean over the rail and whisper, "That one's got it." What it was, nobody could quite define, but they'd know soon enough. Secretariat's first race in 1972 looked like nothing special, a fourth-place finish. People shrugged, maybe just another well-bred colt who wouldn't deliver. But in his second race, everything clicked. He won by 6 lengths, coasting home so easily that people in the stands stood frozen. Word spread fast. Meadow Stables might have something special. As that 2-year-old season went on, Big Red devoured the competition. Hopeful stakes, Laurel Futurity, 7 wins from 9 starts. It wasn't just that he won, it was how he won. Other horses would fight to hold the lead, battling for every stride. Secretariat would hang back, as if daring the others to wear themselves out. Then, with breathtaking calm, he'd explode forward, legs stretching so far it seemed unreal, hooves striking the ground with the power of thunder. Fans would scream themselves hoarse as he stormed past the pack like a locomotive. And all the while, the whispers turned into a roar. Could this be the one? It had been 25 years since a horse last claimed the Triple Crown. 25 years of almosts and heartbreaks. But this horse felt different. Spring of 1973 came, and with it the greatest stage in American racing, the Kentucky Derby. 150,000 people crammed into Churchill Downs. The sun was bright, the track was fast, the air was electric. Secretariat was the favorite, but favorites fail all the time. Beside him in the gates were horses like Angle Light and Charm, strong, fast, hungry. The gates slammed open, and for a heartbeat, Big Red was dead last. Dead last in a field of giants. Ron Turcotte, perched on Secretariat's back, didn't panic. He knew the big horse's secret. Let him find his rhythm. Don't fight him. Trust him. Down the backstretch, Turcotte gave him the signal. Now. Secretariat lowered his head and ate up the dirt, slicing through the pack. By the final turn, he was a blazing streak of red and white. He crossed the line first, 2.5 lengths clear, but what shocked everyone was the clock. 1 minute, 59 2/5 seconds, a record that has never fallen. Even more impossible. Each quarter mile was faster than the last. No horse runs like that. Not before, not since. 2 weeks later, Pimlico, the Preakness. This time, the weather turned the track sloppy, the field smaller, meaner. Sham was back, ready to spoil the dream. The gates opened. Secretariat didn't wait. He surged early, drawing alongside Sham. For half a mile, they were stride for stride. Twin bolts of power tearing through the mud. The grandstands rattled with the roar. People leaned over the rail, straining to see who would break first. Secretariat found that extra gear again. Sham couldn't answer. Big Red crossed the line by 2.5 lengths. The clock flashed 1 minute, 54 2/5 seconds, but the daily racing form swore they timed it at 1 minute, 53 2/5 seconds. A record? Maybe. But it didn't matter. Secretariat was 2/3 of the way to immortality. And then, June 9th, Belmont Park, the test of the champion. 1.5 miles, the graveyard of Triple Crown dreams. The stands groaned under nearly 70,000 fans. TV crews broadcast to millions more. America, for one moment, stood still. They loaded into the gates. Turcotte looked down at Secretariat's ears, twitching forward, listening for history. The gates snapped open. Secretariat lunged forward. This time, Turcotte didn't hold him back. Let him run. The fractions were suicidal. The first quarter in 23 1/5 seconds. The half in 46 1/5 seconds. Jaws dropped. Horses can't hold that. They break. They fade. Secretariat didn't fade. He widened the gap. 3 lengths. 7, 10. People began to scream. Trainers dropped their binoculars. Fans grabbed each other and shouted over the thunder of hooves. 15 lengths. 20. Secretariat wasn't just winning. He was tearing the fabric of the sport apart. When he roared down the home stretch, the rest of the field was gone. The finish line met him at 31 lengths clear. 31. The clock stopped at 2:24 flat. No horse has touched that time since. When Secretariat walked back to the winner's circle, he wasn't blowing hard. His chest barely heaved. He looked around at the thousands on their feet, as if he was asking, "Is that all you've got?" Years later, when Secretariat passed away at age 19, the veterinarians performed a necropsy and found what made him different. His heart weighed 22 pounds, twice the size of an ordinary thoroughbred. A perfect engine pumping rivers of life through every vein, pushing him further, faster, harder than anything that ever ran on 4 legs. But numbers don't tell the whole truth. Secretariat's real power wasn't just his heart, it was the fight inside it. He understood the crowd. He knew the moment. When it mattered, Big Red never let the world down. After that 1973 season, Secretariat retired. 16 wins from 21 starts. Over $1 million in earnings, huge money for the time. Syndicated for a then-record $6.08 million, he spent his days at Claiborne Farm, the same place where a coin flip had once decided his fate. He sired winners. His blood still flows through modern champions, but none carried that same blaze. None matched that perfect blend of speed and stamina and something deeper, that echo of thunder and destiny. When he died, he was laid to rest whole, a tribute reserved for kings. Visitors still walk past his simple marker, leaving roses, whispers, memories. They remember the thunder, the streak of red, the daytime itself, bowed down to a horse who refused to slow down. Secretariat didn't just win. He didn't just run. He showed the world what happens when the impossible becomes real, when the limits we swear by crumble under the pounding hooves of something greater. He was the coin flip that lost, and gave us a horse who never did. This is Secretariat's story, and when someone tells you it can't be done, remember Big Red, the big chestnut who outran the clock, the pack, the doubt, and the very idea of what a horse could be. Some hearts really are built bigger, big enough to outrun the impossible and carry the rest of us with them forever.